Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Patrick Shaw. He is going to be a treat. I know we're going to extract a lot of goodness out of him. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Alicia, I am so excited to be here.
So you've got a pretty good background from an entrepreneurial perspective. And I want to start by talking a little bit about what you've got going on right now, your company, RapidFunnel. So our listeners have a bit of a frame of reference for what you're into right now. But I also think it would be great if you'd share a little tiny bit about your journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, Alicia, my mom owned a chain of health food stores in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, and basically a single mom. I mean, my dad, we loved him, but alcoholic, committed suicide, like the whole story. And so here's my mom with 7 kids, and she's running all these businesses, built all these businesses, and she put the family to work. So it was natural for me. I mean, that's all I ever saw. And then it was compounded by the fact that I was severely dyslexic. So the traditional system, wasn't a great fit. Like I struggled in it. And so I think I was just drawn to it early.
And here you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
and here I am today.
All these years later, and you've accomplished some things.
So I have, and it is all about the journey, though. And I remind myself of that all the time, especially when there's a lot going on. But today, I started to build a product because I had a sales organization and kind of an insurance direct sales company. So I had a large group of people, and all this technology was not really built for me to help these part-time entrepreneurs succeed. All the technology was kind of built for what I call a one-to-many approach, the Kardashians or something. Like, they want to pretend they're authentic, but really they're just trying to speak to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. And if you're a leader of an organization, you need something that's more practical. It helps people immediately succeed. In my case, by downloading an app, I could get that to my sales team, and they had all the tools they needed under one umbrella. And so I was just trying to solve my own problem, and that turned into a SaaS company. We've got 70 people in 9 countries around the world. We're having a blast, and I'm learning a lot of stuff all the time. Would be the last person predicted to be the founder of a software as a service platform business, but it's been a blast, and I'm really enjoying it.
Now, I know that you are offering a very niched product, but I do actually want to take at least a little bit of time to touch on what it is that you guys offer, because I know that there are some people listening who it could be very, very, very helpful for them in their business. And so now you mentioned to me that you do specialize in supporting coaches with a very, very specific targeted niche.
Yes.
And you also have you've got your foot in the door with network marketing as well. So can you talk a little bit about what it is that you guys are doing with your software that is helping these businesses, so that anyone listening who is sitting there in that place where they could benefit from what you guys are doing, they can connect the dots.
I'll try my best to do this simply, because I appreciate you asking, but I don't want to take up too much of your show on it. So I'll say this, like, at one level, our client is the coach who has a large audience of people that need to market themselves in a specific vertical. So we have a notary coach, a great guy, Bill Soroka, and Bill was a notary. And then Bill realized, holy Toledo, this is a great business. I could teach other people. And so Bill teaches other notaries how to succeed. And what's common with all people that are trying to build a business is they have to talk to people. They must prospect and follow up. but the tools are almost so complicated today that you have to be more of a digital marketer than you do to execute on your own business, right? There's a lot of really lousy products that are being sold by great digital marketers, but the best coaches in the space. I mean, I imagine this is so true. I mean, reading about you, Alicia, and what you've accomplished and all the things you do from a mindset perspective, I know you've learned this as a coach, is that you're really good at what you do, but you have to get the story told. And for the average small entrepreneur out there, they're relying on some coach. And if that coach could make their life easier, if that coach could say, look, download this app. I have already written the surveys for you. I already have the email campaigns created. You don't need ClickFunnels because I've created the capture and the landing page for you. All you have to do is download the app, and everything is under that one umbrella already, with your picture, your social feeds, your contact info, and I've written it for you. It's like having Michael Jordan shoot the jumper, but you get to get the credit, right? And so the coach that services or coaches that type of audience that needs to prospect and follow up in a specific vertical, we can help that coach create a new level of success that most of them never dreamed of. You know, the coaches they're the kind of brand of you. Tony Robbins can't sell his business for much, because if I buy it and I go to his audience and say, hey, I got Tony's words all down, I'm going to do the Tony thing, they're not going to show up because there is no other Tony. You know, that is a brand. Now, he's succeeded in lots of other ways, so he's good, but he can't sell that part of his business because it's built on the brand of you. And while that's great for bringing people in the door, it's not very good for long-term passive residual income. And so there's a lot of coaches that are saying, hey, how can I serve my audience better and create real freedom? And the most successful businesses in the world, the Netflix, the Amazons, all of them, they're all subscription businesses, right? And so that's kind of the short of it. Hopefully that helps if I didn't confuse too many people.
I thought it was great. So this might be a little bit off, but it kind of resembles almost like a business in a box, kind of like a plug and play.
It is, yeah, because we build it all out with we actually partner with the coach. You know, we have a setup fee, we charge them, but then it's a full-on partnership. So we won't partner with a coach we don't think we can really help get traction. You know, and most of our partnerships are somewhere around 50-50. So we're handling all the tech, all the support, content creation. We need them to tap into their audience and sell that audience on the value. And we're even there to help them on that. So yes, it's plug and play for sure.
That's awesome. So I have not had anyone else on the show who has created anything quite like this before. And I love it's very innovative. It's very unique. And while it is very niche specific, it's incredibly valuable to your ideal client.
Yeah, and it's niche to the coach, but actually not to their audience. So those are our two levels of customers. To the audience the coach serves, like the notary coach, he's telling me he's in Montana, and there's an event with 250 coaches. And I'm like, why did you guys pick Montana to fly all these coaches in nationally? He goes, what are you talking about? Those are all local. They're almost all from Montana. I'm like, well, how many notaries are there? And it was some insane numbers in the millions, right? And now he has a platform where he can reach out to all of them and create more value. So a lot of these verticals, they're not niche to the user at all, but you're right. They're very niche to the kind of coach we seek.
So let's talk a little bit about your backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking to an audience of business owners at all different stages. Everyone from the startup, they've still got the twinkle in their eye and they haven't, necessarily stumbled over enough hard knocks to be,
Right.
Dusting off their dirty knees yet, all the way up to the individual founded their business, has become sort of the self-appointed CEO or president, or whatever role they're taking within the baby that they built up into an empire. And one of the things that is true for everyone, no matter what level of business you're at, is you're going to have to work through your inner stuff. I learned early on when I was working with business owners that were way more successful than I was, on different mindset challenges that they were experiencing. Doesn't matter how much external success you have, doesn't matter how much money you've accumulated, how big your business has grown.
Right.
We're human, and you're always going to be working through the things that are triggers for you. Wacky conditioning. So on your journey, you mentioned you had probably a few things in your upbringing that contributed to some stuff that you had to work through, including the dyslexia. So I'd love for you to share with us a little bit about your journey and some of the things that you had to overcome in order to create the successful businesses that you've been able to create.
I'm such a whack job when it comes to like personal development, and the glass is half full, that even the things that were struggles for me that that I can acknowledge, I mean, you get it, like I just turned them into positives early on. And I think the gift for me was I was labeled so much as a youth because of the learning disability, edgically mentally challenged, and all these things. And I took such enormous ridicule early that it became water off a duck's back. I sat on a floor where Sister Ann Rita Mock, who worked with Dr. Shedd and had a school in Louisville, Kentucky, called the DePaul School. And I went there. I was in the 4th grade at the first time. My mother, who was just a superstar, like she knew like something wasn't right. She's like, you're really smart, but something's not really right. Like there's, and I just couldn't learn in a traditional system. So anyway, I went to DePaul, and I'll never forget, and I still get a little emotional about it, but sitting on that floor with 50 kids, you go through all this enormous ridicule. You don't have any idea in the world what's going on, or why this is happening, or why all this labeling, or am I really stupid, or any of that. And she says, you have a gift. And she turns that single thought that I had into, no, you have a gift. And here's all these incredible people that have achieved extraordinary things with this thing called dyslexia, and you have it. Isn't that awesome? And I'll never forget, like I said, I still get emotional about it. And then became a passion to help people believe in their own infinite potential, right? And we do that within building every company I've had. So I say that to tell you that I haven't had a lot of baggage, because I had so much early and so much difficulty that I think it became, hey, life's what you're going to make of it, and you have a choice. And no matter what the struggle is, and I've had plenty of struggles, but there's a level of awareness that comes with some of that stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I've noticed that some people are able to gain that wisdom early on, and it is this big mindset shift that changes the way that we perceive things. And it is our perception that's usually the thing that really F's people up, if we're honest about it. Because you can take somebody with the same sort of challenge, so to speak, as somebody else. One person is going to perceive it in a way that is going to allow them to overcome it and to thrive in spite of it. And another person is going to allow that to be the very thing that keeps them struggling and miserable.
One of my favorite quotes: in every adversity is a seed of greater equivalent good. Now, there are people, you say that, and every adversity is the seed of greater or equivalent good. Now, I mean, do you really, really believe that in your heart of hearts? Do you believe that when something really shitty happens, that do you really, really believe that there's a seed of greater or equivalent good? Or do you think that's a nice statement to try to make you feel better about finding, the good out of this crappy thing? Or do you actually believe there's something greater in it? And if you really believe that, it gives you an ability to take adversity like hey, you're not looking for it, you're not trying to create it, you're not making it self-fulfilling, right? But at the same time, it's amor fati, it's a love of fate. Like, hey, it's no big deal. Like, these things are going to happen. It's just part of the process. And when you get to that place, it makes the journey a lot more fun. It gets you off the roller coaster, and you tend to find the seed of greater or equivalent good.
It's so true. So true. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the happiest, most successful people I know, it's not that they don't have any problems, but it is that mindset. It makes all the difference because shit is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to. And you can either let it break you, or that seed's potential doesn't mean it's going to happen. So if you're shitty about it, you're
Right.
not going to germinate that seed.
That's right. That's right. It's that simple, isn't it?
And now you've got sort of your own philosophy about goals. So are you willing to share that with us?
Yeah, and it's certainly not mine, but I will tell you it does come from a lot of different people. And one of the personal frustrations I had with being such an avid reader and a student of so many different disciplines or modalities or whatever is that, you'd listen to Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now, and you'd listen to Stephen Covey, who I just adore, and Tony Robbins, and then maybe How to Get Things Done by David, I can't remember his name. But they all come at success from a very different perspective, right? And I always thought, well, why is it that they can't see the value? And not that they were never haters, any of those people. They were always abundance people, but they kind of had their angle on it. And I always thought, like, Covey does such a beautiful job of talking about the importance of us identifying our purpose in life. Like Jim Lair, who wrote The Power of Story. The most important story we'll ever hear is the story we hear about, the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. Right? It's just beautiful. Purpose is big. Most people don't even have any identified purpose. So it's really critical. It's a foundational. Then you get into people that say, hey, look, your values really do matter. And you can choose your values, or you can let your parents and society choose them for you. And then you get into people that are all about goals. It's the checklist, it's executing on the goal, but their ladder is on the wrong wall, right? So they're achieving, but they get to the top of the ladder or the end of the road, and they're like, I gave up my kids and my life and my family. And and then you get into visualization and affirmation and the secret. And I mean, it list goes on and on. And so I became very passionate. I built a system called bridgethegaptoday.com. It's on Amazon. People can buy the system, but it's basically built on purpose, values, and goals, and get them aligned. And there's a way to really make sure that when you start working down this road, these goals, is that if your purpose, and you're the kind of person, Alicia, and it's so easy to tell these type of folks, but if I had you write your purpose and you wrote your 5 most important values, and then you wrote the goals that you have for the next year or two, and then we wrote those all separately, and I scrambled them up with 10 other people, I would be able most likely to pull out of there and go, here's her purpose, these are her goals, and these are her values, and they'd be aligned, right? They'd be congruent. And the person that has congruency between those three things, and then can create an affirmation, a visualization around those three, they're on the fast track to achievement. But so many people don't have alignment of those three things. And in its simplest form, that's my whole philosophy, is that now, how do you execute on it? Those are all the X and O's and all that. But in a nutshell, man, that's it. Get those. I got in the restaurant business, spent $500,000. And a buddy of mine is like, and I know this stuff inside and out, and I did it. Like, I know better than this. And it was about a decade or so ago. And I had a buddy, he's like, and he just tapped me back into all the stuff that, I mean, I'm his mentor. And he's saying to me, he goes, so how did you get into this business? And why did you do it? And what's your purpose behind it? And I'm sitting there like, are you an idiot, Patrick? How did you do this? Right. And, so anyway, it just makes me laugh sometimes. I don't care how good you are at it. Knowledge is not power. Execution matters. Yeah.
You dropped so many gold nuggets right there.
Yeah.
It's so common for us to get fixated on this goal to the detriment of our own alignment. And we start to feel, we feel the misalignment, and we feel that we're starting to get incongruent, and we're talking ourselves out of it.
Right. Yeah. And it's dangerous today because we're hit with 5,000 impressions a day. And depending on what we're looking at, and you've got, Facebook and Insta and LinkedIn, and everybody's got an agenda with these impressions. And so much, my wife says that comparison is the thief of joy, she read somewhere. And it's so true, is that we just get sucked up into keeping up with the Joneses, what we called it 20, 30 years ago. But social media just has us, everybody comparing everything and questioning every decision, which most decisions, if you could quiet the noise, you could answer them yourself. You could say, this is right or wrong. This is what I should do. It might be the longer road, but it's the more enjoyable, meaningful, and fulfilling road.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to keep picking your brain, but I know we are low on time. So I want to make sure that we share with our listeners how they can connect with you.
They can connect with me probably best on LinkedIn, just RapidFunnel Patrick Shaw. I don't even know how I'm supposed to tell you to do that. But RapidFunnel and Patrick Shaw, you'll find me there. And then bridgethegaptoday.com. You can check out some of, because we talked about some of the personal development stuff, and I think those are both good options.
Awesome. You are full of value, and I know we just scratched the very, very surface of everything that you have to offer. But I do encourage our listeners to reach out, check out what you're doing. I know you're doing some incredible things. I'm super grateful to have had the opportunity to share you with my audience.
I love it, and I enjoy it. I'm going to do more of these just because I do enjoy sharing, and so I appreciate all your energy and great questions, and I'll be following along on your end as well, Alicia. So thank you so much.
Well, we also have to thank our listeners. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode.